Everybody out. It's time to call the meeting to order. Let's stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen, Lord.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Nimishillen Township Board of Trustees meeting. Today's Thursday, September 28th, 2023. I'm Jennifer Leone, Vice President. George Kiko, our President, is out of town. We have Don Keith, Trustee, Todd Bosley, Fiscal Officer, Jeff Shipman, Zoning Inspector, Jamie May, Road Superintendent, and Rich Peterson, our Fire Chief, is in Texas teaching, so he's excused. So we do not have anything under fire, so we'll move on to you, Jamie.
Okay, number one, a resolution to accept the September 28th, 2023 road report.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and second, voting?
Jennifer,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Okay, resolution to approve the minutes from the September 14th, 2023 trustees meeting.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and voting second, sorry.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Okay, number three, approve payment to Huntington Bank for August service charges in the amount of $109.87.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and second, voting?
Jennifer,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a
Did you
couple,
want to talk about that?
yeah, I have a couple other things. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is, this is the time of year where we work on the lighting district. And for folks in the audience and watching, the lighting district is when we have, like allotments that have lights in them. We have to send the bill to the residents, and we do that through their tax bill. So what's kind of difficult in a year like this is when we don't really know what the electric rate's gonna be next year, so we have to try to plan ahead for that. So in working on this, it looks like electric rates are going up about 28% for the coming year. We had a raise, I think it was either May or June of this year, so they went up. If you got in your electric bill, you kind of know what that's about. So I've set forth what I think is gonna be needed. It's gonna be about a 28% increase across the board. We do have about a $5,000 carryover in the lighting district, but I was planning ahead for that last year, anticipating the raise that we had heard was coming. So we do have a little bit of a cushion. Now, when we get to 2024, when we do this next year, sometime around September, then if we're ahead, we can adjust it back, so it kind of all works out. But we just don't want to be in a situation where we don't have enough money to pay, the bill. So that's where we're at. So I would present it to you. If you guys want to make changes, I'm fine with that, but it looks like this is what we're gonna need to cover it, to be on the safe side.
Okay. So do you need to do a transfer, or what do you need to do?
No,
Or
I
you
just need
letting
a-
us know?
Well, I would need a resolution from the board, because the county auditor will need this to deal with the tax scenario.
Okay, go ahead and
So,
make it.
well, you'll have to make the resolution.
Oh, okay. Well, what exactly?
Just, I would say that, I guess I can say it, you can move on.
Exactly.
So we would accept the September 28th, 2023 lighting district resolution that includes a 28% tax increase as presented.
Okay, motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and second, voting?
Jennifer,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Great.
Okay, then I have one more thing. I just wanted to take a minute and I wanted to talk about what happened at our last meeting and just kind of give you my side of the story of it. At the last meeting, we had heard from Sandy where she had said that Brandon Evans, who's in attendance here tonight, was in the office. He was there, and apparently there were some issues with that. I feel like it was a no-win situation for me. Brandon was there. If I was there, it could easily be construed as political, and if I'm not there, of course, it's been spun that I was irresponsible, and I don't think either of those are the case. I don't want to be in the middle of it. I have a full-time employee, and she's done a great job in my opinion, and she met with Brandon, but I did write something that I would like to read, and just so that I had a chance. This came out of nowhere for me. I didn't realize it was going to be an issue, and so I responded at the last meeting, but I just want to make sure that I set the record straight on what happened. So I'd like to respond to the untrue complaints raised at the last meeting by Sandy Smith, who is currently running for fiscal officer. There were many false accusations, so I'll address the main ones. She expressed outrage that I had fiscal officer assistant training for Brandon Evans, a township resident who has a master's degree in accounting who's running against her. To clarify once again, he was not training. He asked in general how the office operated. He wanted to know what the processes were so he could speak intelligently to the residents' questions. As a courtesy, which I would extend to Sandy if asked, I set up a brief meeting which lasted about 15 minutes for him to meet with my assistant. Sandy also expressed outrage that tax dollars were wasted. I think that's an outrageous waste. Actual outrageous waste of taxpayer dollars was when Sandy called 911 to have the deputy pulled from patrol duty to remove a 70-plus-year-old man who calmly spoke a few minutes over his allotted 5 minutes in the public speaks portion of the meeting earlier this summer. Sandy eagerly asked the board if she should call 911, and Jennifer Leone said yes. This person was speaking about a topic the board didn't like. Even when he quietly sat down while she was still on with the 911 operator, Sandy still demanded the officers show up, thus tying up law enforcement so that they could put on a show and intimidate others, citizens who may ask unpleasant questions of this board.
Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
we're gonna-
You had said that this was pertaining to last meeting.
It is.
You're dragging up a whole bunch
Right.
of things
I'm-
prior to last meeting,
I'm-
so
You
could
know
you
what?
please stick to the
We're gonna-
subject?
This has been our whole problem. See,
No, but you're not
You're
just sticking to
dragging
what you had
back.
said you
No,
were
I'm not.
gonna speak about. You are not,
Can I
sir.
talk for just 1 minute? I am addressing what she said. Were you at the last meeting? I mean, she brought all this stuff.
I live here.
Right,
Okay, well, I'm giving the answer to that, Don, that's all I'm doing. And
I know, but no
You're
one's allowed to
regressing back to
campaign,
the
I'm not
previous
an official,
meeting.
I'm not
you're
campaigning.
campaigning.
Finish what you have to say about this past meeting, Todd. Don't
Thank
drag
you.
other things in, please.
I'm not dragging anything, and I didn't start any of this. I'm giving an answer.
Nor
to
did
the-
I, sir.
Listen, but nobody stopped it either, just for the record. Nobody stopped it. So I should be allowed as elected official to have my say. If you
Well, you
disagree
should
with
get
what I'm
up with the
saying.
concerns of the citizens if you're gonna speak this.
Well,
Sir,
this is-
not through
this
your,
was-
not through your elected position, sir.
I don't feel like you're giving me time to talk. This
Well,
is
stick to
involved in
subject.
my office.
Yeah.
Stick to subject.
Well, I think
But
it's-
the matter that I'm getting to, Jennifer, is that you were there when Brandon was there.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
I was stunned when I walked in the door to see him sitting there while we're paying Kelly with taxpayer dollars, and you have a person running for office. It's nothing personal, it's not appropriate.
What
It'd
did
be
you
like-
do to stop it? What were your actions after
I
you left?
asked Kelly, what were you doing? And she said, Todd told me to do this, this is just my job, I'm doing my
How
job.
did Sandy find out about it?
I called George and then I called the attorney, I'm allowed to speak.
I'm not saying you're not, but what it appeared like, I mean, I'm wondering how Sandy knew this so quickly because we got a records request shortly after.
Right, and I filed a complaint immediately with the state auditor.
Okay, well, it's fine, it's up to you.
It's just, it's abuse of power,
No,
Todd.
it-
Yes, it is. You have a duty to protect the information and the integrity of your office, and it's nothing personal against him, nobody's allowed in there. There's social security numbers, there's medical records, and she is on the taxpayer dime. Does anybody agree or disagree here?
Well,
I
no,
don't know.
that's, listen, I would extend the same courtesy to Sandy. How is someone supposed to learn what's going on in the office?
You
How
know
do you
what?
learn that job?
That's on you, on your private time. You can meet with Brandon at any time, off the clock, not with Kelly. That was the issue. It wasn't that he's in there learning, it's
He wasn't
you-
learning.
it's not, she's getting paid by taxpayer funds. It's a waste of taxpayer funds for somebody to train somebody running for office.
He was there for 15 minutes. It was-
I
he was
don't
asking
know. It
general
just was
questions.
inappropriate.
But here's the whole thing, you let Sandy stand up and say all these things.
I didn't know
that
what she
weren't
was
true.
going to say.
But you didn't stop her, and she allowed what she said was not true.
It was,
was
it's
not
calling
true.
what you did into question, has nothing to do with him, and I'm not gonna argue, I'm gonna hit the gavel, and then
Well, you
public
guys
speaks
love
is
to
gonna
do
be over. Well, I am, because you bring people in and you trick them into saying things, and Tony DeNigris was
Okay.
attacking George about a state law in Columbus that has nothing to do with business. And we've read the comments on Facebook, he's harassed George, and it's inappropriate, because we are elected officials, and if people are saying things on Facebook that is threatening to us, we have the right to protect the safety of the people in this meeting and ourselves.
I'm not saying anything
Well,
threatening
I'm
to you.
telling you-
But see, again, I just wanna go on the record that I'm not given a chance to even speak my side of the story.
Well, you're
You guys-
dragging
you
on,
wait. No, I'm not
then
dragging on.
speak.
Alright, I'm gonna finish reading my letter. Brandon Evans' appointment was at the same time the board was scheduled to come in for check signing. I did this intentionally because all confidential materials are put away in anticipation of signing. The checks are presented to the board member in a closed file. No banking info or routing info can be seen as she'd like you to think. The trustees go to another room to sign. So the allegation that all sorts of sensitive or confidential materials were lying about in plain sight is totally untrue. Now, the point I think that you'll find very interesting, as I just pointed out, is that Jennifer Leone was there. And if something inappropriate was done, she should have done something to stop it, but there wasn't anything inappropriately done. I feel like this just got to a situation where Sandy was notified that Brandon was there. She immediately did a records request to my office. And during the whole time, during this last meeting, you just sat silent, like it was news to you. And I just think that was inappropriate, and I don't think it was fair to the lady who works for me. We feel, and I'll just tell you this right up front, the way that Sandy was hired was.
You know what, we're done.
Yeah,
Done,
okay.
done, thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah.
Okay. Trustees, on you, Dawn.
All right, I get to read.
Excuse me, no.
We're gonna wait to.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. Trustees, resolution. Advertise for applicants for the open seat at our building zoning board of appeals. We have one open seat and we would like to advertise for 2 alternates.
Okay, I second.
Motion.
Motion and second voting,
Jennifer,
yes.
Don,
Yes. Set trick or treat date and time, Sunday, October 9th, 2023, 3:00 p.m. to 5:00 p.m. That's a date, is a time set by the Board of Stark County Commissioners for the 2023 countywide Halloween observance.
Is that the correct date? October
I
9th?
think it was the 29th.
it's
That's
the
on Monday.
29th.
I
Thank you.
apologize, yeah.
I apologize,
Hang
that's
on.
my fault.
Let's check, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the 29th.
That is a Sunday, correct?
Todd, did you skip one in zoning? Did you do the minutes? I think we might have skipped over the minutes. We went right to we accept the.
On zoning,
Oh, yeah, we totally skipped Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to you, sorry about that. So, the trick or treat is set for Sunday, October 29th.
29th.
Okay, so, second, and we have a motion and second voting,
Jennifer,
yes.
Don,
Yes. Okay, we're good. Number 8, then we'll go back to Jeff after we finish this one up. This is set for rezoning of R1 to B3 for parcel 33-0307 or 037, lot 5, located west side of Fargo Avenue. We're going to put that on hold. We'll discuss that in a
Table
couple
that,
of weeks because we got a little glitch we got to take care of. So
Great.
that one. And discussion on, we got a $1,000 check from Otarma for our police and fire policy grant, and I had to let Rich tell you what he bought, but he's not here to tell
Oh,
us,
okay.
so we did get a grant.
Well,
Which
good.
is nice, so thank
Good deal.
Rich for filling that out.
Great, sorry, Jeff,
Okay, Jeff.
coming back at you.
For resolution, accept the September 28, 2023 zoning report.
Motion to approve,
Second.
motion and second voting,
Jennifer,
yes.
Don,
Yes.
And then resolution to accept a quote from Connecting Point for $2,278 for 2 laptops, one for the secretary at BZA and the other BZC.
We're gonna table that for now, Jeff, because I asked Randy Lombardi, he said he really didn't need one. So we'll check
get
with the other
further
ones and
clarification.
we'll let us check that out. Let's table that for
Okay,
now.
so let's table that. Okay, thank you. Do you have anything else?
But I got a call from George this morning, and he wanted you guys to set
do that for the next board meeting?
Yeah, because, you know, if you make a public meeting, you can say whatever you want in it.
Okay,
You know what I mean, but he said make sure that the vote goes in to make the next one a public meeting for this. And if you got something to say about it, you can do it during that public
Well,
meeting.
but we can't really do anything on it, Jeff. We can't act.
You
So I
said a
kinda
public
disagree
meeting, you can
with
say
that.
whatever you want, what you're saying right now, you can say that.
What we kinda said now is, we can't act, we need to go through this steps that unfortunately, something got lost with,
Well, I don't want a discussion on this because I'm telling you with George,
Jim, can we set the meeting?
You can set the public meeting. I don't think it's a jurisdictional issue. You could proceed during this, or through the statutory process.
Okay,
But ultimately, you're going to have to look at the record that's received by you as the board and whether or not it includes not only the recommendation from your zoning commission, but also the recommendation from regional planning. When you have the record in front of you, then you can decide whether or not all the procedures have been followed to your satisfaction to take the zoning change any further.
okay, so we don't.
And if you wanted to do that as part of a public hearing, I don't see any problem. It's probably, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, whether you do it outside of the meeting or not. It may be the
we could schedule that for our next meeting.
Okay,
That's fine with me, but
Well,
it's-
the only question I have for you is, right now, did you receive a recommendation from the zoning commission on the change?
zoning commission,
yes.
yes, they did.
And when did you receive
They
it?
did approve, the zoning commission, but the zoning commission approved without anything from regional planning.
And I got that point of it, but what have you received from the zoning commission? Just a verbal, or do you have an
No,
actual?
they have their paperwork.
You have the paperwork. And did you receive it tonight? Is this your
No.
triggering night?
No,
What is the date of the recommendation or the receipt?
it was August, it was the second,
Second week,
second meeting.
second meeting?
Yeah.
And technically, if that is acknowledged as receipt from the zoning commission of the recommendation, your public hearing is to be within 30 days of receipt.
Okay,
I'm assuming your next meeting, which is 2 weeks out, right,
would
put
exceed
you,
that.
would put you within the 30.
Oh.
Right? If in fact you received it at the last meeting, you had?
We'll have to verify that before we,
Yeah, we did get it to him, George had it,
Okay.
yeah, and he said set the meeting.
Okay,
He wants a public meeting when he comes back.
okay, so let's go ahead and, I make a motion for a resolution to set a public meeting for October 12th, 2023, to hear the rezoning for, R1 to B3 for parcel 33-03037, lot 5, located on the west side of Bardo Avenue.
During your regular meeting.
During our regular meeting, thank you,
second.
thank you. Motion and second,
Jennifer,
yes,
Don,
Yes.
all right. Now, we are gonna move on to the concerns of the citizens, and I'm gonna remind everybody, we do have a decorum policy, and we did adopt that in July, and I do expect everybody to adhere to that, and if you don't, we're just not gonna have public speaks today. It's not a requirement, it's a privilege, so that's what I wanna say. So Lauren, you're up.
Hello. Let me first start out by quoting a few lines from Rules of Decorum. Common courtesy and respect is expected towards the board and all other officials in attendance at each meeting. Profanity, loud, threatening, or condescending comments directed towards the board, township officials, or township employees will not be tolerated. Ohio law makes it a criminal offense to disrupt a lawful public meeting. And then further down it says, these rules shall operate as to other public bodies which are part of Nimishillen Township. At the meeting on September 14th, we witnessed our board members and township employees talking loudly over each other, bickering, and making condescending and rude comments toward each other. The rules of decorum that you're talking about just went right out the window, I mean, by you guys, and it's sad, like, it's sad. And it's disappointing, and since it was filmed, it's a little embarrassing too. I'm not gonna dwell on last meeting and pick apart what was said line by line because we would be here all night, but I will say, as we approach the November ballot, please remember this isn't Washington. Everyone has a past, and dragging people's names through the mud is not gonna win anyone votes. We hear enough of that on TV from the Washington politicians. We're sick of it. If the candidates want votes, personally, for me anyway, I just need 4 things, okay? You need to show up to the meetings, not just 1 or 2. Tell us what you love about Nimishillen Township. Tell us why you're running for the position and what you plan to do to improve the community. 4 things, without pointing fingers, tearing people down, I don't wanna hear that. The amount of effort put into getting, if the amount of effort put into getting back at each other and digging up dirt was put into having productive and respectful conversations with each other and with the citizens, we wouldn't need rules of decorum. With all this being said, I challenge anyone who is currently employed by Nimishillen Township or running for any elected position, rather than tearing down your opponents, engage in productive conversations and get involved in serving the community that you want to represent. Sometimes just showing up literally speaks volumes, especially to us. That's all.
Thanks, Warren. Good points. Mr. Salisbury?
I like you. Ronald Salisbury, 4561 Eastland Avenue in Louisville. And I got a little hand last time, and I'm never let you do that to me again. She was on the same track I was. 2 things aggravated me. One was some people speaking and you not letting the others speak. The sideline been poised. Shut up. They don't control the meeting, you do.
That's correct.
You're the absolute ruler.
Right.
And George ain't here, but the last few times, he let that situation grow out of control before he said anything. Now, you have to admit that. He sat there and listened till the argument got blown. He should have stopped that right then.
What I think the problem in the past has been, truthfully, this has been years of letting everybody run rampant, so it's hard to say this was the
She read
day
the
we should
rules
have
to you,
stopped. I
okay?
agree, but it's the decorum of the
But still,
audience.
you're the president, you're the controller, you're the
Right.
leader.
Yep.
You have the authority to throw people out, not maim them. You have the authority to stop the meeting. You have the authority to stop telling somebody else to shut up.
Right.
You know, a gavel serves a good purpose. I've ran some presidents, some things and stuff. It's an attention getter.
It is.
You need to use it.
I did.
I know you did, louder.
Okay.
But it just, she read, you know, I mean, I thought you needed a reminder of your rules because you're in control tonight.
Right, and I plan on taking
Okay.
control.
Now, as far as this other thing goes, that needs to be in chambers, not out here on the public
I agree.
forum,
I agree.
from
I
neither
agree.
one.
It would please me if no one spoke about the election until after the
Well,
election.
But I will tell you one thing, I'm gonna file a complaint with the Secretary of State for her standing up here and campaigning in a taxpayer forum.
That's fine.
But you need to control the meeting.
I am. Thank you. I
Thanks, Ron.
appreciate it.
Don't let it get out of hand.
Brenda?
Can I talk about the election?
Don't give me for anybody.
Yours, Brenda.
I have some, paperwork here about the Louisville School Levy, issue 34. It's basically a renewal, of our expiring, emergency levy, one of the 5-year emergency levies that we have that will be expiring in 2018. There was some confusion last time, and I apologize, we didn't run a good campaign last time because, to be honest, the state was still deciding what we were allowed to do and what we weren't. So we didn't want to get anybody into trouble, so we just kept quiet and hoped that a renewal would speak for itself. So we're not gonna allow that to happen this time.
Okay.
So these are just fact sheets that we're sending around. The one I passed out was the ballot language as you'll see it on the ballot, so that there's no confusion, because, I mean, you talk about renewals, and you think that It's not gonna say tax dollars, you know, it's not gonna say $16 per 100,000, whatever, whatever. But it is a renewal. And I just wanted you to, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight on behalf of issue 34. And thank you for also, for your endorsement. That means a lot to us, but I know we have a lot of work to do. And this is part of that work in education. Issue 34 is a substitute 5-year operating levy for the Louisville School District. The most important piece of information for you to know is this is not a new tax. Not a new tax. You current taxpayers in Nimishillen Township and Louisville City will not pay one extra dime. Will not. It collects $1.835 million, and that is the most we're allowed to collect from current taxpayers by law. It was an emergency levy, and it's being renewed. Alan Harold, the county auditor, was present at our first levy community meeting that was held last night, and is expected to be at our next community levy meeting, which is going to be held this next Monday night at 6:30 at the middle school. He did attest to the facts that I am stating. Like I said, this is basically a renewal of the 5-year emergency levy that is expiring. The substitute levy will allow us to continue to collect the $1.835 million for which it was originally passed. The only difference between this levy and a straight renewal is that the substitute levy will allow us to collect taxes from those that build new homes in the district beginning in 2024. New people, new houses. And they will pay the same tax rate that we're currently paying on this levy. Current property owners will not pay more taxes for this levy. Current taxpayers will not pay more taxes even if their property values increase next year. You will not pay any more taxes even if you increase your valuation by 35%. This levy is not going to take more taxes on your tax bill. We, as the Louisville Board of Education, are dedicated to being fiscally responsible to our community. This levy is a good thing. No new taxes for current homeowners, plus collection of taxes from new families bringing in new students into the district, which will cost us more to educate. We need this continued support to keep current programs at our school. $1.835 million is 7% of our operating budget. We will have to make deep cuts to transportation, staffing, and programs should this levy fail. Should this happen, it will take us 2 years to recoup these losses, even if we pass a levy soon afterwards. We have 3,000 reasons to vote for issue 34. They are students. They are our future. It's not for our teachers, and it's definitely not for our board. It's for the kids. Your grandkids, your neighbors and friends' kids, and our community. Thanks.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you. Brandon Evans.
Hello, Brandon Evans, 9306 Beach Street. Good evening, citizens of Nimishillen Township and trustees. Thank you for allowing me to speak today and address some of the things that were said about me, as well as tell you a little bit about more about myself. My name is Brandon Evans. I am running for fiscal officer position this November. I'm also a small business owner in the township. I started Eagle Accounting here in my basement in 2010. The people of the township have been overwhelmingly supportive as my business has grown through providing services to individuals and helping to start many other small businesses in the community and watch them grow. I am so grateful to the people of this community for everything we have accomplished here in the last 17 years. There are some really amazing, hardworking people here in this community. My opponent has made up lies implying that I had seen confidential employee information when I made an appointment to briefly stop into the fiscal office to ask some questions about the operations of the office. I can assure you that I did not see anyone's personal information. I did not even see as much as a name, let alone a social security number or any health records. I was only in office for about 15 minutes, which was on video, and I was obviously not looking through any records. This false information is an attempt to slander me personally. I believe this behavior is a disgusting representation of how my opponent is as a person. It is a shame that some people resort to such petty things when they feel they are not the better candidate for the position. I'm a very trustworthy person, and I've had access to personal information of thousands of people in my career, and I've never caused any harm whatsoever. I also was required to pass 2 separate FBI fingerprint background checks. The first was to sit for the CPA exam, and the second was with the IRS to obtain the electronic filing license for taxes. In my accounting practice, I am required by law to keep all personal information in a locked room, and I've practiced this for 17 years since I began doing accounting. Rather than point out the many shortcomings of my opponent, I'm going to tell you why I'm the most qualified person for this job. I graduated from Mount Union in 2005 with a major in accounting, minor in business administration, went on to get a master's with a focus in accounting. I've taken classes in governmental fund accounting in my undergraduate and master's classes, which is what is used by the township to keep track of funds and budgets. I've been working in the accounting field for almost 18 years. I currently own and operate Eagle Accounting, where I have a staff of 5 wonderful people who free up my time to be able to give back to the community that made me who I am. I have worked with many different accounting systems over the years, and I'm able to adapt to any changes or updates easily. I am able to work peacefully alongside some of the greatest accountants, business owners, and individuals around. And most importantly, I care about this community. I plan to live here for the rest of my life and raise my children here in the township. In closing, I would like to thank the township citizens for their support. I'd like to strongly encourage everyone to get out and early vote for me, Brandon Evans, to be your fiscal officer. I am by far the most qualified person for this position, and I want to make my fellow citizens proud to have supported me and glad to be a part of this township again. Let's run this election.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's it. We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second voting?
Jennifer,
Yes.
and Don.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.